Hello, Dermot Cavanagh here. Today I'm driving Suzanne Dando to one of my favourite villages on the County Antrim coast, Glenarm. It has many attractions for the artist: a pretty coast, a beautiful red brick church and a wonderful stone-built castle and bridge.
Now, Dermot, we've just had the most glorious walk up the coast there, and we have a beautiful river, we've passed the most stunning of castles and an exquisite church, and we're not drawing any of them. And don't think I'm complaining, but you've led me up a back street. For what?
Well, we don't always have to paint the grand panorama. And what we're dealing with today is pattern, tone and texture. And just look in front of you with all those jumble of buildings, the limestone walls, and the way the sun's shining through there, dappling on the ground. We couldn't want for better than that.
Well, the next question is, of course, Dermot, and I've asked you this many times, I know that. Where do I start? Because there's quite a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah,
I know the closest point, but the closest point is the wall on the left-hand side.
It's quite a complicated wee sketch, but you're good now, Suzanne. You know,
Oh, you're so
really coming
kind.
along, so you should be able to handle this okay.
You'll be pleased to know I think I've finished.
That's quite a bit of detail on that, Suzanne. But that's enough for us to carry on with.
Okay. Well, you've been busy. You've been mixing up some colours.
Right. We're using a colour here for the sunlit area of stone, and it's a mixture of raw sienna, water with the slightest little bit of crimson. And because we're using lots of water, we're lowering the tone of the colour. Now you can see, looking at the bridge, it's very, very light, very washy, and that's a very washy colour.
That sun is quite strong on the bridge, isn't it?
So do you just want to take that first of all and cover the bridge with that initial wash?
Just the front facing of the bridge, because the rest obviously is in shadow.
Yeah, cover the whole bridge, even where the shadow is, just cover right over that.
Oh, even, right,
Yeah.
I see, because we were darkened on top after.
Yeah. Now, I've changed the colour to give the mid-tone of the sunlit stones.
Yeah.
Now, we still have the raw sienna and the crimson and the water in the mix, but now I have introduced the light red. And we just go ahead and put that on the underside and left-hand side of each stone. So, if you want to carry on and do that.
Finish off on that. And that applies over here as well?
Yeah. The next colour is light red, ultramarine with raw sienna, and that's giving us a darker tone. And if we just put that on the underside and the left-hand side, but still not covering all of the last tone we put on, that again is just giving us a third dimension to that colour. So off you go and put that in. This is a different brush, a number 5. And we're going to use this here for putting in the cracks. Now, you see the way the cracks are very dark, you know, in here. You can actually see that it's a very dark join. So again, using that brush, that's a very dark mixture of burnt sienna, light red, and ultramarine blue. And you're going to emphasise more the left-hand side and the underneath side.
Okay.
Looks really good.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I know it's a sort of a process that you have to sort of add slowly each time, but it really does have the desired effect. Oh, I'm pleased with that.
What you're trying to say, Suzanne, it looks like stones.
Yeah, I suppose I am. I think I'm ready now for a slightly more adventurous project with our tones, patterns and textures.
Well, I have the perfect place for you. There's a lovely church, there's a lovely sea, there's lovely buildings, but we're not going to paint any of those. We're going to another back street, Suzanne. Further down country is Rostrevor, nestling at the foot of the Mourne Mountains, and a perfect spot for painting. This particular scene is really going to let us bring our paintings to life with pattern in the buildings, tone in the shades of colours we use, and texture in the stone and brickwork.
Once again, Dermot, you've taken me away from the main road and we've just found an absolutely beautiful little spot. I think the name lends itself, doesn't it? The Fairy Glen.
Certainly does, Suzanne. And on the way in, we drove past some beautiful scenery. But here we are again, looking at another back street.
Well, it's hardly a back street though, isn't it? It's just a pretty part of a very nice walkway with the river running beside us. And of course, we've just got a perfect scene. So if we sort of recap and look at exactly what our purpose is today, Dermot, we've got the three issues, pattern, tone and texture. Now, tone we don't really concentrate on until we get to the painting, do we?
That's right. You see, as you say, we're dealing with the pattern, tone and texture.
Okay.
And here we have it all here. It's the perfect location for this subject. And we have the buildings, the bridge, all those roofs. The roofs are giving us the patterns.
Okay.
The bridge is going to give us the texture and the stonework. And then we have the shadows being cast across the grass, which again is going to give us tone and texture within the foreground.
And of course all the foliage that we've got from the left and also in the right coming up in front of the houses, is that part of the pattern as well?
That's exactly right. All the things that we have talked about over the last while, we are now pulling that all together to give us, you know, this ideal painting location, the ideal subject.
Right, so where to begin on something slightly complicated, we need to measure up presumably then?
That's right. First of all, we'll start with the bridge.
Okay.
And we'll use the bridge to give us scale, but in order to place the bridge, I think it's going to be beneficial for us, first of all, to measure across the page and get our locations plotted out.
So we need to see how many of those bridges, or how many times it will fit into my page.
Yeah.
Right.
And then moving on to the bridge, and you can see that the bridge just comes up there at the end and goes up in a nice arch.
And we're looking at coming over to our sort of...
But you can see the end of that first house.
I
That's
see.
Right. Yeah.
So sort of within our fifth section really, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I wanted just to establish your water line.
Right. Now, we have a bank that comes down from the left-hand side that runs under that first arch, doesn't it? That comes out from the wall.
Yeah.
So that drops down. I'd put those bushes in, wouldn't I, now? Just to... Would I? Yeah, just to outline them.
Yeah.
Now, there's a bit of water line under the third, and then there's a load of foliage and bank,
Yeah,
isn't
put
there?
that water line in first of all. That comes across, always comes across level. And now you can bring that leg of the
my
buttress.
water line is going uphill. I should know that by now. Okay.
Now you can bring that leg of the buttress down to meet the water line.
I
That's
see.
it.
That gives us the height of that.
That's it. Let's recap on what we have, Suzanne. We have established where the bridge is, and we have put in some of the foreground pathway. Now, the flower bed we've used for our scale to get the bridge, so we really have more or less every dimension that we need to work from.
Okay, so we then go on to the houses then?
That's right, yeah.
Right, well, the first and foremost is the green one. That's the one closest to us, isn't
Yeah.
it? So I start with this corner of the house that it's closer to us.
Exactly.
And all these roofs.
Oh, they're going to be dead easy.
Thank you. Right. Well, they weren't quite as difficult, those roofs, as I thought they were going to be. It took a little bit of time, but I've added just a little bit more details, Dermot. The windows, that's okay, and the sort of little cornicing around the top.
Yeah, it looks really well, and got them to fit into the space there. Very well indeed, Suzanne.
They look pretty, actually, don't they?
Yeah,
They're
they
very
do.
sweet little cottages. Where next, then?
We're going to concentrate now with this big shadow that's cast by the trees on the left-hand side.
Yep.
And the shadow's cast, you can see right across the path and down the bank. So we want to indicate where that shadow goes, just with a broken outline. We're not going to have any really straight lines, you know, just a broken outline, and you can see that it follows the contour of the bank.
It falls down the bank, doesn't it?
Right down to the river.
Now these shadows are sort of hitting that far bank, but the foliage is still, the tops of the foliage are still in sunlight. So I just take the line underneath?
Yep, and the tops of the foliage is just peeping up through the shadow and catching the sun, and we have to, you know, try and indicate that there, showing a broken outline. We don't want to go into too much detail here, it's just a broken outline to show where the shadow is.
Is that okay?
That's lovely.
Okay.
Because with the sun moving around us all day, we need to indicate the shadows.
Okay.
Well, if you just continue to put some figuring on that, Suzanne.
Okay.
I'll mix up a few paints, and I think it's near time we got into that with the paints.
Can't wait.
Yeah, the sky is dry, foreground's drying, so we can move in now and start to put on the colour tone for the roofs.
Okay.
Now, I've mixed up a beautiful colour here, and it's ultramarine with a touch of light red and some crimson, and it's a very, very weak wash, Suzanne.
Okay.
So what we do is we just start with this main roof in the centre of the picture and put that in on the top of the greenhouse, and remembering the directional brush strokes. So if you just want to carry on, and with that nice light colour, we want to cover all of the roofs.
It's a lovely colour actually, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And don't worry about the dark ones and light ones. We're doing all this colour first, and then we go over that with a darker tone.
Okay. This one on the right, that's the same colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's on all of the roofs, and then we change the colour by adding a darker tone.
That's right. And then we can leave that to dry, and we'll move on and put in the green coloured house.
Okay.
Now, Suzanne, we've left a little space between the roof and the the wall of the house, so we can work away even though that's still damp. Now, this is a new colour. It's a mixture of Windsor yellow, cerulean blue, and a slight touch of raw sienna, and we just put that on and cover it quickly, cutting round the windows.
Okay. You've got a perfect match of colour there. That house really is that colour. Comes with practice then.
Oh yes, like all colour mixing, you just have to keep practicing all the time. And cutting round the windows, and this is very important that we cut round the windows, because once we lose that white off the paper, we can't get it back again. So we have to be very careful and neat round those houses. Well, Suzanne, now that the first coat that we have put on the roofs is dry, we're going to take a look at the roofs again. Now, if you look up there, you can see that we have different shades, different tones of colour within that arrangement of roofs. Now, again, it's shadow that causes those different tones and different shades. So what we're going to do is go back into the original colour, and we're going to put another wash over some of those roofs, the ones that are facing away from the sun.
I see. So that the roof of the greenhouse for a start.
Yeah.
Now this is the same colour, but because we're doing it twice, it takes the tone down, doesn't it?
That's it.
And this one.
Now, that takes us down to those beautiful red brick cottages. And
with lots of little roofs.
And this is where we're going to give those cottages and those roofs. We're going to get all those patterns now with the, you know, the shadowed side of all those little V roofs. And it's just a matter of going across from right to left and putting all the shadowed sides of those roofs on. And you see that it's going to make all those roofs stand out. You can see that house.
It does make a difference, doesn't it?
Now this is an underlying colour. It's the sunlit stone, but we're going to cover the whole bridge, and then as we did with the roof, we can put on a darker tone, a darker shade on the places that aren't in direct sunlight. And that's right, onto that wall, the top of the wall, and then get onto the bridge.
The wall at the back there on the other side of the road as well.
Yeah, but
that joins up to the bridge,
right. That's it.
Well, this is the sort of tone colours that we were talking about that we can't actually express in the sketch, can we?
That's right. You know, we have to be painting to express these tones, and we're mixing up light shades of raw sienna and water, and then again we can change the tone of that by putting in more paint and thickening up the shade of the colour.
Okay.
So this is going to sound really silly, Suzanne, but I want you to go over. I want you to go over the arches as well. You know, don't worry.
The inside of them, where it's very dark.
Because that's all going to be very dark, and it doesn't really matter that we're using a dark colour over a light colour because we can hide the light colour.
Okay.
It's only when we're working backwards, whenever we have to retain a light colour, we can't go over that with a dark colour, but we can just sweep over everything here.
So I've just got to find those gaps really up amongst the tree, haven't I?
That's right. And you see, the thing is, that shows that you're actually thinking, you're planning what you're doing, because it's very important that you cut around the green, because we need to retain that light green to give that sunlit effect. And in places where we're going to put that light green in on the wall, we need to retain the white of the paper and cut round and leave those holes.
I think that's enough wall now, Dermot.
And while that's drying, Suzanne, we can then move on and go back to the wall of this greenhouse here.
Oh, I see,
Yeah, we're going back to the same process where we take the same colour and put it over the initial wash, and it gives us a darker shade, a darker tone of that wash. And cutting nice and neatly again around the windows and working it down. Bring it all down together. Don't try and do it all at once. Bring it down in degrees so that you don't get hard lines. Yes, Suzanne, I'm very impressed now. You've really got control of that brush and you're cutting around your windows really well. Yes, and see the way you're cutting around the bush there, just to give enough, retain enough of that light colour so that you can have that nice sunlit colour shining through the bushes over there. Very good indeed.
Thank you.
Now, if you look ahead, you can see that just on the chimney breast that's coming down the wall, there's a step, just where those steps are shown there. There's something sticking out and it's casting a shadow across the chimney breast. So yes, just about there. And there's one further down as well.
That one?
That's it. Yes, very nice.
Okay.
Now, we need to change brushes here, Suzanne, because we'll use a number 5 sable. Here you go.
Thank you.
Now, for underneath the eaves, you can see that on the left-hand side of the building, there's a shadow cast there as well. So
same colour then?
Same colour. And we'll use this brush to put in that shadow and then underneath the windows.
Okay, under every windowsill.
Now, we have to be very careful here, Suzanne, because if you notice, round the inside of that windowsill, or round the inside of the window, we have a white frame.
Yes.
And we have to try and retain that white.
So a very small line.
Move, that's it, moving out just to give that reveal where it turns around. That's the thickness of the wall before it hits the window.
Okay.
And that is not in direct sunlight, so therefore it's going to be casting a shadow. So that's what we do. We just use the same colour again, and because we have the initial wash there, the second wash shines up as a darker shade or a darker tone of that colour.
It never fails to amaze me that with just the little things that we've been doing, like the windows and the shadows and those windows over on the small Victorian cottages, it really does all of a sudden come together, doesn't it? It becomes a picture as opposed to the sort of paint that I've blobbed on in the earlier stages.
That's right, you see, and that's what we're trying to do. And we're going to move on now to the bridge. And we're looking at the bridge and we're going to give that form.
Okay.
Now, we can see that it's made up of a lot of different colours of stones, but they're all more or less the same colour. They're just different shades and different tones of the same colour.
Yes.
So we already have that underlying colour down, that raw sienna and water with a wee bit of crimson. Now we want to move on and put some varying tones on this. So with those 3 colours, starting with the mid-tone colour, individual stones, we don't want to have a bridge that we can see, like there's a stone there, a stone there, a stone there.
Not too regimented.
We can count them. So what we do is we put a few lines in, a few broken lines, to indicate small stones, large stones.
So very similar with what we did with our sketch on our bridge earlier today. Okay.
I always say, if you can't count them, don't put them in. And the best compliment you'll ever get, Suzanne, is whenever someone looks at your painting and says, gosh, look at all the detail in it. But it's
and gosh, I can't count those stones.
Yeah, but it's the impression that you give by indicating detail. It looks as if it is reality. Now, Now, we're going to start with the foliage on the right-hand side and this big tree that we're looking at. So again, it's your favourite technique, Suzanne. We're going to use the brush on its side and drawing it across the paper very, very lightly with the brush loaded with paint, just to give us that nice broken outline. Well, we're going to slightly obscure the windows. So just more or less pull that down, but don't lose all the yellow colour that we have there.
I have to say, Dermot, I really love doing trees and foliage.
And a really good job you're doing too, Suzanne. But don't overdo it now. That's. I think we'll leave it there. That looks very good.
Okay.
Yep. The only thing we have left here is the shadows in the foreground. And that's the big trees on the left casting the shadow across the pathway.
Yeah.
We're going to put those on now. Now, if we start at the bridge, just beyond the wall of the bridge, we can see that the shadow is coming down and we're cutting around, leaving those little holes of dappled light and running the contour down towards the water. Now, be very careful with this, that we don't come too far too quickly.
So a little section at a time so we don't get those dry lines as well.
That's right. And coming up, we'll take the whole path down with us as well. But remembering, if you can see light through the shadow, we have to leave the patch.
Okay.
So coming quickly now, this is one of the areas we're going to have to work very quickly.
And little patches.
Yeah.
And following the contour of the ground, so that sweeps down across the...
That's lovely. Now you're coming to a big shaft of light there. You can see over the grass, we're going to get a big flash of light where there's no tree to cast the shadow, so therefore we're going to get lovely sunlit grass in that position.
So leave that gap, but with a jagged edge though, because it's...
exactly. Yes, Suzanne, nice short strokes like that. A few more down here.
Okay.
Right, stop painting. That's plenty.
Danger of doing too much.
Yeah, that's always the problem. Now, I think you'll agree, Suzanne, that from a point of view of a subject, it is excellent. We have the trees on the left, casting the shadows over the ground. We have the pattern and texture in the buildings. We have the tone in the stonework of the bridge and the houses. It is everything that we need. The ideal location. And I must say, very well executed by yourself.
Thanks, Dermot. I'm very pleased.
Well, your colour washes are getting stronger, Suzanne, but I must say your coffee's getting weaker.
Don't you be cheeky. I wish you'd get some smaller mugs, I must say. I expect the whole family drink out of this at one go, do they?
I normally use it for washing out my brushes. I don't know where you found that.
Thanks, Dermot. Right, where have we been this time?
We started off in Glenarm
Yeah.
and then we moved to Rostrevor. And it was patterns, tones and texture. That's the subject we were dealing with this time.
Quite a difficult subject, I felt,
Yeah.
as a first attempt.
When we get to this stage where we have a lot of roofs and a lot of buildings, you're going to have problems. And one of the things that you must overcome is finding how to place your buildings, and that's going to give you a lot of problems. But I must say you have coped admirably with that.
Now, with the subject pattern, tone, and texture, we've of course covered those subjects on individual bases within our other subjects. But for this, we've kind of brought it all together under one subject, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, everything that we've covered over the last while, we've now brought together in our buildings, in our stonework, in our water, our foregrounds, the grasses and the foliage as well. We're covering everything here, and it's just a bringing together of all the different subjects that we've looked at.
And then, of course, we did a very small colour study on here, just for an experience exercise, really, wasn't it? To get the pattern and the texture of that brickwork and the stonework.
Yeah. You see, it's all very well just to put on a wash for stone, but until you put on the 2 or 3 different shades within that stone, and then your dark outlines to give the stone texture and form, it doesn't really come to life. And that's why we use that, and we haven't covered that before.
It's like a layering process, really, isn't it? Well, should we look at what it should look like in its finished form?
Well, this is a full painting of that particular scene. Now, I'll just point out a few things here.
Yep.
We have the shadows, first of all, which is the strongest aspect within the composition.
Yep.
And the shadows are cast from the left across towards the right, and the buildings are casting those shadows across the grass, which is giving lovely patterns and tones along the sunlit grass. And you can see how much it makes this sunlit area stand out. By putting on the shadows, it brings the light out, and that's what we're trying to do.
But over here, this is something that really sort of built up, didn't it? That nice layering of the stonework, as we said, and the little bit of moss. That sort of suddenly started to happen.
By bleeding the green into the wall, it gives you that effect. Moving on to Rostrevor, the fairy glen and the perfect composition.
Oh, it was, and the perfect location, I have to say. It's probably one of my favourite to date. But it had everything that we needed there, really, Dermot, wasn't it? The sort of the bridge for the texture, we had foliage, and the colour of the houses for the tone and the pattern in all those roofs. And then, of course, I was introduced to two new things. One was the colour of the greenhouse. That was a lovely green, and I thought that was a beautiful colour to actually apply. And then, of course, the pattern in these little Victorian cottages, which was a new shape for me to master. And I thought at first it was going to be a bit daunting, but once I got into the flow of it, and the idea, as you said to me, think of them as upturned V's, made life a lot easier. Fantastic shape as well, weren't they? But I think one of the good things about the exercise we did in Glenarm was that we had the chance to do a little bit on a bridge, and we've got another beautiful bridge here, slightly bigger, slightly more elaborate, and again the texture in that was beautiful, wasn't it? And it was fun to be able to do all those different lines and see this bridge all of a sudden appearing out of the page almost.
Yeah. The bridge is very important. We're using it as a focal point. And we're using that, the eye comes in, sees the bridge, and then leads on to the buildings behind. Okay. So it's in how we treat the bridge that leads the eye in. And with these arches, we have to make them, dark so that it gives form and contrast to the bridge. And then the figuring on the stones is very important as well. And you've treated that in a good manner. It really looks as if it's natural. It's naturally there. I don't know whether it was the magic of the fairies in the Glen, but you have coped admirably with this painting.
Thank you. Well, you coped admirably as well, because you have the what I would call the real McCoy, of course.
Well, Rostrevor is a place that I keep returning to time and time again. It's a town that I just can't stay out of. There's so much inspiration in that village that you have to keep going back as a painter. You'd
probably end up living there or something like that.
I wish.
It has so much colour and so much life, this painting, doesn't it? It really sort of jumps out. Every aspect of it jumps out at you. There's things that I could point out. The foliage, there's so much life in the foliage. This really is the tone, isn't it? The trees and the foliage and the bushes down here beside the water, they're very lifelike. They are real as far as I'm concerned.
Dealing with foliage is all about getting your initial colour on, that nice light sunlit green that we put on, and then layering on top of that. Because this foliage was backlit, and as you can see, we can see light coloured leaves through the foliage on the front of the tree. So it's very important that we put that background sunlit wash on and then layer the other colours on top of that. Some of it's done wet on dry. That's where we're putting the wet paint over a dry wash. Other parts of it are done by bleeding the colour in. Bleeding the darker colours in to give us the shadowed side to the tree. But you can see that it's a very effective technique, and it really makes the tree come to life and stand out.
It's fabulous. Well, I'm almost tempted to visit an estate agent now. It looks so pretty.
I would say you'd have bother in Rostrevor.
How to reflect the changing seasons in tomorrow's Awash with Colour at the same time, 11:15. Next today on BBC Two, Ginger Rogers is the lovesick Kitty Foyle.